Did you know that some female Aries serial killers try to cover up their crimes by sending fake letters and postcards to their victims' families as if their victims were sending them? One poisoner even started a lucrative business by producing and selling arsenic to people who wished to get rid of their relatives. One female Aries serial killer was a tarot reader who sacrificed her neighbors to assure spirits helped her son who was drafted for World War II. In this video, you'll learn about the cases of a Hungarian poisoner, an Italian mother who turned her victims into soap and cookies, and another Italian woman who killed men who assaulted her. Continue watching to learn about the cases of female Aries serial killers. The first case we'll present here is that of a Hungarian poisoner, Mária Gerzsány, who was born on March 25, 1851 in then Austria-Hungary. She was born in a poor family. Her parents were peasants and devout Catholics. We almost have no information on her childhood. This actually happens often with serial killers whose cases didn't gain much notoriety, and this is especially true for killers who were born in the 19th century. Mária was a midwife, like many women in those times. She was also performing abortions, as there was no proper medical care for women who wanted to terminate their pregnancies. With her primary job as a midwife, Mária aided with 95 births, where 78 newborns were reported deceased. There is no way to prove if she killed them or not, especially because stillborns and newborn deaths was something quite common in those times. However, it's definitely brow-raising that her success rate as a midwife was so low. Mária was married 5 times, and out of those 5 husbands, 3 died. Suspicious? Most definitely. Now here comes the baffling part. She was known in the community for being a poisoner. And you may ask, and no one did anything about it? Well, here's the thing. Mária was openly selling poison to people who wished to get rid of their relatives. So why would anyone brought it to the authorities and implicating themselves and possibly get arrested and thrown into jail? It's like if drug addicts would report a drug dealer. And even worse, because those people sought Mária Gerzsány's services to kill other people, so they were effectively committing serious crime that would most definitely land them in jail. So her main motive seems to be money. Now, this is a quite common occurrence when female serial killers kill alone. That is, when they don't kill alongside their husbands or boyfriends. When a woman forms a part of a killing couple, then the motive for the murders is usually sexual. When a woman kills alone, then the motive is usually criminal enterprise or something else, like jealousy. Criminal enterprise refers to the motive behind the killings being money. This can be a primary or secondary motive, but whenever we talk about criminal enterprise, the motive includes financial gain. There are various subcategories to criminal enterprise motives, such as contract murder, gang-motivated, criminal competition, kidnap murder, product tampering, drug murder, drug dealer, insurance-related motive for individual or commercial profit, and felony murder. Given that Mária Gerzsány produced and sold arsenic, her motive is in line with drug murder, though not in a traditional sense. These categories and subcategories are created with modern criminals in mind, so we'll have to adjust them from time to time, especially when we're talking about killers from 19th and first half of the 20th century. Those were just different times. Mária started a lucrative business out of other people's evil desires. Was she worse than those she sold arsenic to? Anyhow, apart from selling poison, she got money from life insurance policies after the deaths of her husbands. Naturally, she was the sole beneficiary. She also took life insurance policy in the name of her common-law husband, a healthy farmer who soon after fell ill and died shortly. The autopsy revealed that he died of arsenic poisoning. She had a really bad relationship with the witnesses, which may cast doubt at the accusations made against her. However, let's not forget that there was a physical evidence against her, the autopsy report. Plus, the survival rate of the babies she helped deliver is staggeringly low. And now listen to this. After her crimes came to light, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. However, in 1919, after the fall of Austro-Hungarian Empire, she was released. And what did she do after she got released? She renewed her arsenic-selling business. Unbelievable! So she was arrested again in 1920. Mária Gerzsány presumably died in prison. However, her actual fate is unknown. The second case we'll present here is of another Aries female serial killer who was born in the 19th century. It's Leonarda Cianciulli, aka the soap maker of Correggio from Italy, who was born on April 18, 1894. Her case is so bizarre, mixed with the supernatural and with strong resemblance to the Sweeney Todd case. And yes, it's a real-life case from 18th century, not just a theatrical musical turned movie. Like Mária Gerzsány, Leonarda Cianciulli comes from a poor Catholic family. Again, we don't know much about her early years, except that she tried to take take her own life twice. Unlike Maria, who liked to change husbands and partners, Leonarda was fiercely dedicated to only one man in her life. In fact, she stood up to her own mother, who wanted her to marry another man. She followed her heart and ran off to marry Raffaele Pansardi, a registry office clerk. Her mother was so angry that she cursed her, something that Leonarda took to heart. Leonarda was a superstitious woman, so all the bad things that happened to her later in life, she contributed to her mother's curse. The truth is, she did suffer many misfortunes. Out of the 17 pregnancies, she had 3 miscarriages, while 10 of her children died in their youth, which naturally made her fiercely protective of her 4 surviving children. But as we'll see, her protectiveness and paranoias made her do terrible things. One time, a fortune teller told her, "In your right hand, I see prison. In your left, a criminal asylum," which just fueled her fears and paranoias. In 1921, Leonarda Cianciulli committed a fraud in the native town of her husband's, after which she was arrested and imprisoned. After getting out of prison, the family moved to Lacedonia. In 1930, her home was destroyed in an earthquake, so the entire family moved to the town of Correggio. There, Leonarda opened her own shop. She was very well liked and respected in her community. Apart from being a shop owner, Leonarda also started reading tarot for her friends and neighbors and became quite popular in her town. People would go to her if they needed help, either with what would happen in the future or with immediate stuff like asking her to help them find a job or arrange a marriage. 1939 marked the beginning of World War II. This also meant that her favorite son Giuseppe was drafted for war. He was about to join the Royal Italian Army and she didn't want to lose him. This is normal for a preoccupied mother, especially a mother that has lost so many children. And by the way, I urge you to watch a video on Gemini serial killers who have Moon in Virgo and compare Leonarda's case with that of Kathleen Folbig, another mother who lost her children when they were babies, and let me know if you think Kathleen is really innocent or not. Anyhow, Leonarda, being superstitious and being a fortune teller herself, she came to the conclusion that to save a life, she had to offer another one instead. What this means is that she believed that in order to save her son's life and prevent him from going to war, she had to offer human sacrifice, a life for a life. And guess what? She didn't have to look far to get to her first victim. Faustina Setti, a lifelong spinster, came to Leonarda Cianciulli for help in finding a husband. Being a helpful lady that she was, she agreed to help. She told her that she found her a suitable husband in the town of Pola. All was fine and good, right? Well, not really. She asked Faustina not to tell anyone about this arrangement, something that Faustina had no problems with, as Leonarda was known in the community as a trustworthy woman. Leonarda then asked her to write postcards and letters to family and friends as if she was already in Pola, living her new and beautiful life with her husband. She told her that they would be mailed as soon as she reached her new destination, and Faustina happily obliged. Just before her departure, Faustina came one last time to visit her good friend Leonarda. Little did she know, but Leonarda had already decided that she would be her first human sacrifice that was supposed to help her son stay safe and with his mother. She took an axe, killed Faustina, and dragged her body into a closet. She then proceeded to cut her into 9 pieces. What happened next is straight from the Sweeney Todd movie. She threw pieces of Faustina's body into a pot and made crunchy tea cakes that she served to the ladies that would come to visit. Cianciulli claimed that both her and her son Giuseppe also ate the cookies. Now, whether Giuseppe knew what and who he was eating or not, and whether he was in it or not, is debated. However, it seems that Leonarda wasn't satisfied with just one human sacrifice and wanted to solidify Giuseppe's good luck. Another woman, unaware of what had happened to poor Faustina Setti, came to seek help from the good and kind Leonarda Cianciulli. Francesca Soavi was in desperate need of a job, and Leonarda claimed that she had found just the right one for her, a job at a school for girls in Piacenza. Francesca was naturally ecstatic. Like in the case of Faustina Setti, Leonarda asked Francesca to write postcards to be sent to her friends and family after her departure. Like Faustina, Francesca happily obliged. Before her departure to her new life, Francesca came to visit Leonarda one last time. Leonarda offered her wine in which she had already put drugs. After Francesca lost consciousness, Cianciulli killed her with an axe, dismembered her body, and made it into tea cakes. Did she stop there? No, she didn't. It seems that no human sacrifice was enough to secure the protection of her favorite son, Giuseppe. Virginia Cacioppo, a former soprano who sang at the famous La Scala, also came to seek help from Cianciulli in finding a job. Lo and behold, Leonarda had just the perfect opportunity for her to be a secretary for a mysterious impresario in Florence. And by the way, impresario is an individual who organizes and frequently finances concerts, plays, or operas. Leonarda followed her established modus operandi, as she instructed Virginia to keep this a secret and to write letters and postcards to her friends and family. When Virginia visited her one last time before her departure, Cianciulli drugged her and killed her with an axe. This time, however, instead of just making tea cakes, she decided to also melt Virginia's body into soap and sell it in her shop. Now, there is another motive apart from human sacrifice, and you guessed it, it's money. After each death, Leonardo collected large sums of money. After the death of Faustina Setti, Cianciulli received Faustina's life savings, 30,000 liras. After the death of Francesca Soavi, Cianciulli obtained 3,000 liras from the victim. And in the case of Virginia Cacioppo, Cianciulli received 50,000 liras, bonds, and jewels. And she even dared to sell victims' clothes and shoes. Leonardo probably thought that she had planned her evil doings well and that she would never be discovered. However, there is no such thing as perfect crime. Virginia's sister-in-law actually saw Virginia enter Cianciulli's home, from which she never emerged. She probably accompanied Virginia before her departure to Florence. Now, whether she knew that Virginia was about to go to Florence is a different question. This is something Leonardo couldn't have anticipated, and this is another proof that perfect crimes, no matter how well prepared and thought through, don't exist. The woman grew increasingly suspicious and decided to report Virginia's disappearance to the police. The investigation was opened, and Leonardo Cianciulli was soon arrested. Cianciulli maintained her calm and didn't confess, that is, until suspicion fell on her beloved son Giuseppe. In order to protect him from any harm, she confessed to the murders. Now, whether he was somehow involved or not will never be known. Leonardo Cianciulli was sentenced to 30 years in prison and 3 years in criminal asylum. Remember those fateful words of the fortune teller many years before: "In your right hand I see prison, in your left a criminal asylum." Leonardo Cianciulli died in a criminal asylum on October 15th, 1970. The third case we'll be presenting here is that of another Italian female serial killer. It's Milena Quaglini, who was born on March 25, 1957. Milena grew up in an abusive home. Her father was an abusive alcoholic who didn't treat her and her mother well. Milena graduated as an accountant, and at 19 she ran away from home. She worked occasionally as a cashier, cleaning lady, and caregiver. She got married and had a son, but unfortunately her husband soon died from diabetes. Milena was devastated. She descended into depression that remained for the duration of her life. She also began to drink heavily. She then moved to another town and found a job and another husband. Everything was finally falling into place, right? Well, wrong. Her new husband was pathologically jealous and obsessive, and the two argued a lot. They had 2 daughters together. Her husband fell deep into debt, so she decided to leave him, taking one of the daughters with her. Milena wasn't earning enough, so she started working as a caregiver for an 83-year-old man. He was a really bad person, to the point of lending her a lot of money and then trying to blackmail her. Unfortunately, there are people out there in the world who like to take advantage of the misfortune of others. This guy suggested that if Milena didn't have enough money, she could pay him in nature. She refused, and he tried to assault her, and here I'm not talking about physical assault. In order to take him off of her, Milena struck him on the head with a lamp. She then left the house, leaving him on the floor still alive. He somehow managed to call the ambulance, but died 10 days later. We can't really blame her for this one if it really happened in this way. However, let's see her case through the end before giving any premature conclusions. For this crime, she was sentenced to 20 months in prison. After a prison sentence, Milena returned to her husband in hopes of reconciling with him. Second chances rarely end well, and the quarrels between the spouses continued as before. On August 2nd, 1998, the two got into one of their many fights. Milena was heavily drunk, and in that state she decided to end the life of her husband. She waited for him to go to sleep, put her girls to sleep, and then took the rope and wrapped it around her husband's neck, allegedly to scare him. He woke up and tried to fight her off. She hit him over the head with a jewelry box and strangled him to death with a sad rope. She then proceeded to wrap his body in blankets and a carpet and left him on the balcony. She didn't try to flee, but called the police station and turned herself in. She was sent to a recovery community for alcoholics, but it didn't serve her much because soon after she started drinking again. She met a former carabinier who, like that old man, tried to assault her. She met another guy through ads. On October 5th, 1999, he told her to dress provocatively, which she refused. He got angry and assaulted her 3 times. She then prepared a coffee for him and put 20 tablets into it. He fell asleep shortly. Milena then dragged him into the bathroom, put him into a bathtub, and filled it with water. Since he was unconscious, he drowned. She wanted to stage her partner's death to appear accidental, but then panicked and moved his body to the garden. Milena Quaglini took her own life before the trial on October 16, 2001. She's sometimes compared to Eileen Wuornos, an American sex worker who shot 7 clients dead after they allegedly tried to assault her. Some may wonder why Milena's case is on the list, because she seemed to be the victim in all the deaths. However, we must always have several things in our mind when trying to judge the morality of killers' motives. First, many times we don't know exactly what happened as the murder, nor what preceded the murder was recorded in any way, nor there were any witnesses. We have to rely on the perpetrator's testimony, and we know that killers are rarely going to tell the truth. Second, while it seems that Milena was dealt bad cards in life, she still killed 3 times. This is why I chose to analyze serial killers and not murderers who killed once. If someone kills once, we may assume that they did it in self-defense. But if they kill 3 or more times on separate occasions, how viable is to say that all those times was self-defense? We don't know if Milena Quaglini's testimony is 100% true or not, so we have to take it with a grain of salt. Do you think she was innocent or not? Comment down below. In the next video about Aries women who kill, we'll talk about 4 female killers. One killer was irresistibly drawn to funerals and created opportunities to attend them. One killer did something similar to Leonarda Cianciulli. She also sent postcards to the relatives of the victims. There's a nurse who liked to get into bed with her patients, and there is a mother who hated her son so much that she decided to get rid of him. Bear in mind that in this video we're presenting the cases of female Aries serial killers without comparing them, though you'll definitely see some similarities between the cases. For the analysis and comparison of cases that have the same aspects, you can check them here. Since we're talking about Aries women who kill, why not check the video about Aries serial killers with Moon in Aries and see what they have in common. I'll also leave the link to all the playlists in the description box so you can easily access all the videos, stats, shorts, aspects, and women who kill. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. Also, turn on that notification bell so you never miss out on new videos. See you next time.